would be difficult for us to test 2 million children every day or twice a week or 3 times a week. So we're trying to have a strategy where if the community rate is rising, like it is in some of our areas in Ontario, and there are certain schools that continue to have outbreaks or high absenteeism, that's an environment where I think having a test to stay in the class or test to continue to be at the class may be very, very helpful to keep children in the classrooms.
And that is the province's medical officer of health, Dr. Kieran Moore, offering his opinion today on the use of rapid tests in schools. He has previously said there's no added value in their use and worries about too many false positives. But some doctors and parents want them used more widely as a way to keep kids safe and learning in the classroom.
And a group of parents in the city's East End has taken matters into their own hands, using rapid tests to screen about 200 kids at Earl Beatty Public School twice a week. The initiative is catching on, and the group says other parents and groups are showing interest. To discuss the program and the ideas of expanding this type of testing in schools, we welcome to CP24 tonight Kate Dupuy, a parent involved in the Earl Beatty testing program, Deonandan, an epidemiologist with the University of Ottawa, and Regina Bateson, a parent who's trying to set up a similar rapid asymptomatic testing program in Ottawa. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Kate, I will start with you, and kudos to you and the other parents at your school. But in saying that, I mean, shouldn't this be up to the government as opposed to a group of parents who have to volunteer their time?
Absolutely. We are so lucky that we were basically in the right place in the right time. We connected with a group in Waterloo called Stay Safe, who was looking for a school in the province to be part of their ambassador program. And we were able to connect with them and get access to tests for our kids. But just as you said, you know, kudos to us, but honestly, we shouldn't have to do this.
And Kate, what has been the result? I mean, every week, or twice a week, you test a number of asymptomatic students who are willing to partake. Are you coming up with a number of positive COVID-19 tests?
So we're really lucky. We have about 260 of the kids at our school, which is more than half the school population who are involved. The reporting actually doesn't come to us. We're just parents. We didn't want that kind of public health information. So we've partnered with the Michael Garron Hospital, which is in the East End of Toronto. So far, we haven't heard back from them that there are any positive tests. So keeping our fingers crossed. So far, so good. 2 weeks of school. So far, so good.
That's right. It's been a short time, a short period.
Raywa, let's bring you in now as the epidemiologist on our panel. Let's talk about the effectiveness and your opinion on these types of tests being used more widespread as a way to screen kids to keep them safe.
So rapid antigen tests are probably the most criminally underutilized tool throughout this entire pandemic. We should have been using them at high effectiveness months ago. And the thing is, people don't understand exactly where to use them. So there's a failure of imagination and understanding. We think about testing in a variety of ways. Diagnostic testing is what you do to determine what disease you have, so we know what to treat you with. There's screening testing, like getting a breast cancer screening that and followed up with a biopsy. This is called reassurance testing. This is where we think you don't have the disease and we test to make sure you don't have the disease. And so the quality of the test doesn't have to be as perfect as, say, a PCR test. The problem, quote unquote problem, with the rapid testing is that they have a high false negative rate. So you can test on a given day, test negative, but you still might be infected. The key, though, is that you're not infectious. The test is very good at determining if you're infectious at a given day, and we take you out of circulation on that day, you're not causing outbreaks. It's a great tool.
What about Dr. Kieran Moore's response today that maybe they'll be used in areas where there are higher case counts, or if there's a school where they're seeing kids are absent at a higher level, that's when they would maybe be employed. Is that the wrong approach in your opinion?
Well, the trick is to not use them on symptomatic people. If you're symptomatic, then you have a higher chance of a false negative. So they must be used strategically. And yeah, there's something to be said for if the case counts are really high, you should use the PCR testing and some other tools in coordination. But if the goal here is to keep a school that is not in crisis out of crisis, this test is great for that.
And Raywa, and I promise, Regina, we'll get to you in a moment, but could you clarify again what you mean about infectious versus infected?
It's possible to be infected but not have sufficient viral load yet or be symptomatic to be infecting other people. So the PCR test is highly sensitive and can detect the presence of the RNA of the virus even after you've passed an infectious period. The rapid antigen test does not do that. If it tests positive, you can take that to the bank. You're positive and infectious at that moment. Right? If you test negative, you might still have virus in you, but you're not infecting other people with it yet.
And Regina, you're trying to set this up at a school that your children attend, I understand, in Ottawa. Has there been much interest or community support?
I would say that there's overwhelming interest from parents. There's overwhelming community support. We've even found a lot of support from our local city councillor, even from school board members. But the problem is access to tests. Ontario has been given nearly 20 million tests, rapid antigen tests, by the federal government. And for reasons that I cannot fathom, they have funneled most of those to businesses only to test their employees, who are adults who can be vaccinated. And we have been trying and trying as a group of parent volunteers to find some way to access tests. And we've tried the Red Cross, we've tried the Shoppers Drug Mart, we've tried contacting Ottawa Public Health, we've tried contacting the school board, we've tried considering ordering cheaper tests from Europe, which we actually can't do. We've tried it all. And the only solution we can think of is to attempt to get tests from Waterloo, from that Stay Safe Ambassadors program, which is, you know, something like a 6-hour drive from here and doesn't seem like a logical way to solve this problem. So we really need help from the province in allowing unvaccinated kids to access testing.
Kate, you're getting those tests that you're using in your program from the Waterloo region. How did that come about, and what's the cost? What are the logistics involved?
It really came about because one of the parents in our community, Sam Kaufman, he got in touch with the Stay Safe folks way back in August. He'd really been advocating for the use of rapid antigen tests. He'd been writing letters to the government, to the school board, to the school, hadn't really got a lot of support, just as Regina is saying, and sort of connected with the Stay Safe folks. And our school got on board back in August. We've now basically, he's driven to Waterloo twice and packed his car full of tests for us. You know, it's only a 1.5 to 2 hour drive here, depending on traffic, so not as bad as the drive from Ottawa. But just as Regina said, it really doesn't make sense that parents have to do this. There has to be a better way. There's millions of these tests somewhere in the province. I don't know if businesses are using them, if there's a way of businesses of sharing them with us, of giving them back to the provinces, then they're rerouted to school boards. There has to be a way.
Raywa, there may be some people watching tonight scratching their heads thinking, you know, to enter a variety of different indoor settings, workplace settings being one of them. People in this province who are not vaccinated are required to take these tests before they can enter those settings. From an epidemiological perspective, does it make sense to be doing that, you know, as a precaution for those people, but not for kids?
I think the kids must be the priority. They are the single largest contiguous block of unvaccinated people, as noted, and society rises or falls depending upon if we can keep schools open. So we avoid another lockdown by keeping schools open. How do we keep schools open? By wrapping them in public health tools. One such tool is these tests. The pushback is that kids don't like them. That's true. They're uncomfortable sometimes. That's true. You probably have to use them multiple times throughout the week. So kids will get tested 2-3 times over the course of a week. It's not pleasant, but that's the price of keeping schools open.
Regina, where do you go from here? I mean, I want to again give a kudos to you and Kate as parents. I mean, your job is to parent. You shouldn't have to be responsible for organizing, you know, a rapid test program at your children's schools, but that speaks to your incredible commitment in your school community. So good on you both. But Regina, do you say to local businesses as well? I mean, you listed who you've been reaching out to help out. Maybe if someone at home is watching, a business owner, they can provide some. But again, that might be a short-term solution.
And the problem is really the province. I want to be very clear that it's nice to give kudos to a few parents, but this is not scalable. What we are doing is not a solution. It is not equitable. We need the province to step in and distribute these tests to schools. And in fact, the province is telling businesses that if they get the tests through the provincial program, they should not redistribute them. So even if someone wants to share their tests with us, it's not clear that they're even allowed to. And this is very problematic. I don't understand why the tests are locked away. And I just wanted to say quickly that I watched Dr. Moore's press conference earlier today, and I was really troubled by his idea that we should wait for outbreaks to happen in schools and then perhaps deploy some rapid antigen tests. And it really just had echoes to me of waiting for the modeling to show up in the hospitals. And I think we have to be more proactive.
Absolutely. Kate, Regina, Kate, and Ray Watts, thank you so much for your time. This is something we'll continue to follow. I know we're seeking answers from the government. We will follow up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.